You know, I mean, it's the best switch hitter he can get. That's not his opponent, you know. It's champions working with champions, you know. In the modern day and age, man, you don't get that a lot, you know.
It seems that experts might be pointing to something when they predict that Canelo's performance is on the decline. And a few hours ago, Canelo hurt his hand from excessive sparring, but the injury is said to not affect the fight date. According to many pros, Canelo's days of stardom are over since he's getting old, and Crawford will definitely take advantage of this.
I think Crawford's got a decent shot, man. I think he can box. He's really, really good. I'm just excited to see how he comes into this fight, you know, being that it is a different weight class, but I think he's got a shot.
You don't think Canelo's too big, too strong, too experienced, younger?
Yeah, but I feel like Crawford still got a shot.
One of Canelo's latest sparring opponents, Boots Ennis, has now broken silence, firing back at the criticism Canelo is saying. According to Boots, there's no problem at all with sharing the ring with Canelo, and he doesn't care about the backlash. Boots Ennis sparred with Canelo in the build-up to this weekend's super fight. The sparring was part of Ennis's own camp as well, but it didn't sit right with a lot of fans. They saw an American fighter who is supposed to be aligned more with Terence Crawford, giving Canelo the benefit of elite sparring rounds.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes, love
Who
boxing.
gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez.
The idea is that Ennis was betraying Crawford by giving away looks to the Mexican champion. Boots has now addressed it. He went on YSM Sports Media and explained exactly how he felt. On why he sparred Canelo, Ennis said, "Why not? You know, why not be able to share the ring with Canelo? Being in there with a Hall of Famer, a legend, the mace of boxing. You know, why not? The work was great. I had a great time. I was having fun. I loved being in there with Canelo. It was a great thing." And about the backlash, he said, "I ain't gonna lie, I really don't care. I went out there not only to help, but I went out there for myself, basically to start my first 2 weeks of camp out there with the elevation and all that. That was phenomenal. This was for me. It was for nobody else. I went out there, I got the experience, I shared the ring with Canelo, and like I said, we was having fun. I had a great time."
I had a great time. We was having fun. You know, I love being in there with Canelo. It was a great thing.
All right. So there's been like 100 rumors, and yo, it kind of broke the internet. Yo, that might have been like your third time this year. Yeah. Did you expect this kind of attention from a sparring session?
I already knew it was gonna go crazy. You know, once we posted the pic, I'm like, yo, this junk gonna go everywhere. We kind of like figured it, and you know, it kind of, I guess you could say it made the fight more interesting now, because everybody kind of like want to tune in a little bit more to see, you know, what's gonna happen.
So Boots makes it clear. For him, it was about training at high elevation, getting his body right, getting great rounds with a big name, and doing it for himself. He doesn't feel like he owes anyone an explanation about loyalty. He enjoyed the work, he respected Canelo, and that's it. While Boots was defending his choice, another big voice in boxing, Teddy Atlas, gave his breakdown of the fight itself. On his podcast, The Fight, Atlas confidently said he was always backing Crawford, even when others thought the idea of Crawford fighting Canelo didn't make sense. Atlas said, "Before this fight was made and when it was only vaguely proposed, well, a lot of people poo-pooed it. No, Crawford is too small. Forget about it. It doesn't make sense. When it was going through those times, I didn't hesitate. I said Crawford. I'm not changing now."
You know, what about Crawford do you think can bridge the weight gap? Or like with you, what did bridge the weight gap? Because a lot of people are just saying, hey, Canelo's just too big for someone like Terence.
That's true. But you know what? There's always a way. Put it that there's always a way. There's always a way to win.
Atlas pointed out how Canelo's style has changed. He said, "Canelo is not as busy as he used to be. Now, in some ways, it served him like a fine wine, getting better. He picks his spots, he counterpunches, he carries good power, he's accurate, he doesn't waste anything. It's a nice thing." But he immediately questioned if that would work here. "I don't know if that nice thing will serve him with Crawford, who's moving up in weight, who's faster, who can maneuver, use his legs. I know he's 37, but he's not used up. He doesn't have a lot of miles on the odometer."
How is Crawford, his composure going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo?
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford. He's the weight classes. He's the most composed guy. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. He's already moved up 3 weight classes. So now you're talking 6 if you add on 3. Crawford has the ability to slow things down in the ring that very few people have.
Atlas sees Crawford winning on the outside. He said, "I'm looking for Crawford to win the outside. Use his length. I know he's still got good length on him. Use his legs a little bit. Grab the canvas. He's not going to run, but just control space, get angles, be ready to punch." Atlas even brought up the Mayweather fight to prove his point. He said, "Canelo's feet aren't that fast." Why did he lose to Mayweather a long time ago? I know it was a million years ago, I know, but it wasn't because his hands were too slow, his feet were too slow. He couldn't close the gaps fast enough. I think he's going to have a problem in that same area.
I know a lot of people are not very excited about that fight, and they think the size difference, huge difference. But Crawford's big, man. Crawford's a very strong fighter. He's a very smart fighter also. So look, the way Canelo's been fighting his last couple of fights, where he's just looking for one punch at a time.
Not everyone agrees. Oscar De La Hoya, who once promoted Canelo at Golden Boy Promotions before they split, sees it completely differently. Speaking to Fight Hype, De La Hoya said the fight is laughable. He said, "Now what the media is reporting and it's circulating is that Canelo versus Crawford is the biggest fight of the decade. I mean, to a purist and a fighter, it's laughable because you have Crawford jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, who's a natural light heavyweight. Crawford, who couldn't push back Madrimov? Life and death with Madrimov. What do you think Canelo is going to do to him? Run him out of the ring." So De La Hoya doesn't see a competitive matchup. He thinks Canelo's size and power is too much, and he mocked the hype, calling it fight of the decade.
That's a very, very good fight. 2 great fighters. I grew up admiring them my whole life, so I'm excited for that fight. I think Crawford is a hell of a fighter. If it goes the distance, he might be able to get that decision win. But I think if there's a knockout, then it might be Canelo who's getting the knockout win. But I'm ready to watch the fight. I'm going to be a big fan that night. And just.
Meanwhile, Terence Crawford himself has been showing off his body, and that became another story. He posted pictures of his sculpted physique just days before the fight. In the caption, he wrote, "8 days and we're ready." The response online was huge. Fans were shocked at how shredded Crawford looked. Joe Rogan, who has one of the biggest platforms as a UFC commentator and podcast host, commented simply, "Oh well." That small reaction summed up what many people felt, that Crawford looks insanely ready, and it stunned people who didn't expect him to look so strong at this weight.
Of the decade. I mean, to a purist and a fighter, it's laughable. Because you have Crawford jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, who's a natural light heavyweight. Crawford, who couldn't push back Madrimov.
And then there's Joel Diaz, the trainer who helped Dimitri Bivol beat Canelo in 2022. Diaz knows what works. He told Fino Boxing that the plan is straightforward. You frustrate Canelo, you beat him. You frustrate him first. Diaz has explained the Bivol game plan in detail.
Canelo beat Crawford at 168.
I say he does. I think it's just too much size, and obviously, Canelo's not a new fighter. He knows he has a lot of experience too. So I think it's just gonna be too much weight for Crawford. Even though Crawford's a great fighter, I think he might give him a run for his money the first maybe 6 rounds.
He said, "We started working on it, and one of the main keys was to keep jabbing him. Keep jabbing him. Don't stop jabbing. Canelo always tries to hit you in the arm to wear you down. And if you watch the fight, I had a bag of ice all the time on his arm for the whole fight." Diaz knew it was working early. In the second round, I know facial expressions. When Canelo was trying to get in and he couldn't get in and coming back and he started making different faces, I said, "You know what? He's frustrated."
Excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov was a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions.
At one point, some people in Bivol's corner wanted him to go for a knockout, but Diaz said no. He explained, "There was a point where they wanted to send Bivol to knock out Canelo. I said, no, stop. Let's keep him where he is because one knockdown will take the fight away from us." Bivol executes plans really well. This shows how beating Canelo isn't about power. It will be all about discipline, control, and sticking to the strategy. And Crawford's team could look at that fight as a blueprint. But do you think it helps? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.